The biggest lie about the Amazon isn't about climate, it's about history. For most of your life, people have told you this rainforest was untouched wilderness, a pure green lung, almost empty of people. Then someone fired lasers through the canopy and the forest stopped playing along. In this video, you'll see what those lasers actually found under the trees. You'll see how the empty jungle story was built, how LiDAR ripped it open, and how some people are already twisting the new evidence into the next fake lost empire. Then we'll get to the uncomfortable part. Why it mattered so much for so long to pretend this place was empty in the first place. So let's open the file on the biggest lie about the Amazon. For decades, the official picture sounded neat and scientific. The Amazon soil is too poor. The jungle's too harsh. You can't feed big, dense cities there. At most, there were small groups moving through the forest, living lightly, leaving almost nothing behind. That's the model that sat in textbooks. That's the vibe documentaries repeated. A virgin forest with tiny human footprints. If that's the picture you grew up with, that didn't happen by accident. Someone chose that version for you. Because if you convince yourself a place never had major cities or complex systems, you don't have to feel like anything big was destroyed. You can clear, flood, and mine, and call it development, not erasure. You can even tell yourself you're using a resource that was just sitting there. Here's the part nobody wants you thinking about. The pristine jungle story doesn't just protect trees. It protects people who want to act like nobody was there before them. On the ground, that story was already cracking. In places where forest had been cut, people started seeing shapes that didn't fit the random nature picture. Circular ditches, massive squares, long straight lines carved into the earth that met at clean angles. When soil scientists dug into some areas, they found unnaturally dark, rich earth. Terra preta, dark earth, built by humans with charcoal, bone, and waste, turning bad soil into something that could support intense farming. You don't make hundreds of square kilometers of engineered soil by accident. That alone should have killed the tiny scattered bands and untouched forest idea. It didn't. People still called these things local quirks, exceptions. Interesting, but not enough to change the main story. Then came the lasers. LiDAR works like this. A plane or drone flies over the canopy and fires pulses of light down. Some bounce off leaves, some hit the ground. Software strips out the vegetation and leaves a bare digital model of the land. Suddenly, the forest is gone on your screen, and the ground has nowhere to hide. When researchers ran LiDAR over parts of the Amazon, empty stopped being an option. Under the trees, clean shapes started jumping out. Rectangles, grids, gentle mounds forming platforms. Long, perfectly straight lines cutting across hills and valleys, as if someone dragged a ruler through the earth. This is the moment the empty jungle story stops working. You either update the story or you choose to ignore the map in front of you. In the Upano region of Ecuador, LiDAR revealed a whole complex that had been hiding in the green. Imagine standing in a random clearing. Trees all around you. Nothing special. Now strip the trees away in your mind. Underneath, there are raised platforms arranged around open plazas. Straight roads run out from that center like spokes from a wheel, reaching other clusters. From the sky, it looks less like forest and more like a low, sprawling city grid that someone tried to erase with leaves. This isn't just a forest. It's an ancient circuit board someone tried to grow moss over. In Acre, Brazil, LiDAR and satellite images showed hundreds of geometric earthworks. Perfect circles, sharp squares, long connecting lines. Some of these shapes are as wide as a football field. They're linked by ancient roads that slice through the landscape in ways rivers don't. Near a site nicknamed Amazon Stonehenge, a ring of upright stones tracks the sun. A rainforest culture built its own monument to the sky. From above, the forest suddenly looks wrong. It's not just trees. It's trees draped over old architecture. Now ask yourself this. How many times did planes fly over this exact forest, see nothing but green, and use that as proof that nothing important was ever here? Once those LiDAR images leaked into the wider world, Everyone rushed to claim the story. Headlines screamed, "Lost Amazon megacities discovered," and "Ancient civilization found under the rainforest." Thumbnails showed neon pyramids glowing under leaves. Some creators grabbed half a paper and ran straight into fantasy. They talked about an Amazonian Atlantis. They hyped names like Ratanaba, an alleged secret super empire, and tried to shove every new site into one giant hidden kingdom. It looks exciting. It's also lazy. It takes real, diverse sites built by different peoples and stitches them into one easy myth you can sell. On the other side, archaeologists tried to be careful. They pointed out that these sites aren't all from one time or one culture. They used phrases like pre-Hispanic low-density urbanism to describe what LiDAR was showing. Not dense stone cities, but broad, spread-out networks of settlements with central hubs, causeways, fields, and managed forest between them. They're right on the data, but listen to the language. Low-density urbanism doesn't exactly hit like "we just found cities under the jungle." It sounds like a filing category. Be honest. Which line are people more likely to repeat to a friend? "I watched a video about low-density urbanism." Or, "Lasers just prove the Amazon was never empty." The point isn't to pick the romance over the research. It's to notice how both sides can miss what actually matters. Because while people argue over whether megacity is the right label, something else is hiding in plain sight. The way the old story, and some of the new ones, keep pushing indigenous Amazonian societies off the main stage. When you say the jungle was pristine, you make it sound like humans barely touched it. When you say nothing big ever existed here, you turn indigenous people into background characters in their own land. And when LiDAR forces you to admit there were big systems here, but you insist they must have been built by Atlanteans or mysterious outsiders, you erase indigenous history all over again. Be honest. Are the people pushing those lost super empire theories really chasing the truth? Or are they protecting an old habit? The habit of giving anything impressive to someone else. Meanwhile, on the ground, indigenous communities are still there. Many have stories about powerful ancestors, large settlements, and landscapes that were shaped, not just wandered through. For years, those stories were treated as myth because they didn't fit the small, simple, timeless forest people box. Now the LiDAR maps look a lot more like those stories than the old textbooks do. Here's the part that should start to feel familiar. We were wrong about what was under the trees. But we weren't wrong by accident. We were wrong in ways that made certain people's lives easier. Think about who benefits from a forest that looks empty on paper. If maps show nothing but green blocks, it's easier for governments and companies to sign off on dams, cattle ranches, soy farms, and mines. It's easier to draw protected areas that treat the land as nature only, with no history that needs a voice at the table. What does saving the forest actually mean if your plan quietly deletes the people who built it? When you tell yourself the Amazon was always wild and unplanned, you make it feel normal to plan over it. A dam that floods a valley no longer looks like drowning someone's cultural landscape. It looks like flooding just trees. A logging project no longer looks like cutting into someone's old roads and fields. It looks like bringing development to nowhere. Here's the part that should bother anyone who cares about maps and laws. The moment you accept that there were complex systems here, huge parts of our current map start to look like they're drawn over ghost cities. In the LiDAR models, you can trace straight causeways that line up with today's property lines and roads. You can see geometric earthworks sitting under ranches and fields. You can see dark earth patches inside zones labeled uninhabited. Suddenly, the question isn't, did people ever live here? It's, how did we convince ourselves they didn't? This is the point where the forest stops looking innocent. Let's be clear about what the lasers actually showed. They didn't reveal glass towers and flying cars under the trees. They revealed that the Amazon was once full of organized, large-scale human activity. Platforms, canals, roads, earthworks, astronomical stone circles, engineered soils, all pointing to societies that understood their environment deeply and shaped it on purpose. We also know what happened next. After contact, waves of disease and violence hit indigenous populations. Networks broke, systems collapsed, forests regrew over earth and wood. In a few generations, A region that had been intensely managed could look, to an outsider, like untouched nature. If you're looking for a mystery, that's it. Not where is Atlantis, but how many times have we let forests cover our guilt? From far away, it's tempting to say, if the cities are gone and the people changed, it's just forest now. But time doesn't work like that for the people whose ancestors built those places. The past doesn't become nothing just because the trees grew back over it. Now ask yourself this. If we were this wrong about the Amazon, what other empty places are we lying to ourselves about? Here's the twist a lot of people miss. The LiDAR story isn't just about giving indigenous Amazonian societies credit for what they built. It's also about something more uncomfortable. Admitting that our baseline idea of nature is warped. We like to imagine huge, pure landscapes that are free of human fingerprints. It makes us feel like we're stepping into untouched territory. It also makes it easier to push actual, living communities out of the frame. The Amazon isn't the opposite of civilization. It's built on top of one. You can see that as a loss, or you can see it as something else. A sign that the sharp line we draw between wild and human is a fantasy. Ancient Amazonians weren't destroying the forest. They were editing it, writing into it, turning soil into a long-term technology. If that idea spreads, a lot of modern comfort starts to crack. The comfort of thinking deforestation is just the first big impact humans ever had here. The comfort of thinking carbon projects and green branding are always on the right side, even when they ignore the people and the ruins under the trees. The comfort of telling yourself history only really counts when it's written in stone. Now ask yourself this. If these cities stayed hidden this long, what else is still buried under stories that sound harmless? At the start, I told you there was one detail that actually affects your life. Here it is. The way we describe the Amazon's past decides what feels acceptable in its present. If you think it was a blank, ahistorical jungle, then every new cut, dam, or reserve looks like a fresh decision. If you know it once held networks of cities, roads, and engineered landscapes, then every change starts to look like writing over someone's buried script. So, the real mystery isn't how advanced were these Amazonian cities. The real mystery is how much land, money, and political comfort depends on you never taking those cities seriously. Lasers didn't just expose ruins under trees. They exposed how badly we wanted those ruins not to exist. If you want more ancient and lost civilization stories pulled apart without sanding off the sharp edges, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next deep dive. And tell me in the comments which part of this story you think is the most dangerous myth. The idea of a pristine, empty jungle. Or the idea that even when we finally see the cities under the forest, we'll still try to give the credit to anyone but the people who were actually there.